I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. I love this first story from Parade magazine. Gabe Iglesias threw a quinceañera for his dog. Gabe shared some of the party on Instagram with the caption, "Party of the Year for my little princess." In the video, we see Gabe pushing his dog into a beautiful venue decorated with pastel flowers and balloons. In an illuminated modified baby carriage, Gabe said, Risa has given me so many years of happiness. I just wanted to celebrate her. I even wore pants, #quinceañera. He was inspired after seeing another canine quinceañera and thought, no way that guy loves his dog more than I love my dog. Challenge accepted. Since I've had her from day one, she's always been in my hoodie. She's always been in my jacket. We're very close. So I said, all right, I'm going to do this once. I've never had a daughter. I've never had a kid of my own. So I'm going to go full blown on this one. The Chihuahua is more likely between 16 and 17 years old. Nevertheless, Gabe threw her a quinceañera of her dreams, featuring a guest list of 300 plus creatures, including 12 or so other pups and some humans, a smorgasbord of bites, including puppuccinos, and plenty of entertainment, including Cirque du Soleil style performers, a Build-A-Bear style station, and America's Got Talent's Christian and Scooby, who are a man and dog duo. Gabe spends around $100,000, which included 3 custom dresses, 3. Now, if you're freaking out right now about the money, to quote Don Draper, what's the money for? Gabe's got the money. I'm sure Gabe donates to charities. A 2-second Google here turned up. Gabriel Iglesias presents $25,000 to Long Beach Middle School. You ever have an old dog? I've got an old dog right here. My dog's 15 plus. I totally get this. A friend of mine, his Chihuahua recently died. He was sad. I was sad on his behalf. So I totally get this. Like Don Draper said, what's the money for? Gabe said, I'm celebrating something that means the world to me. I'm not setting money on fire every day. While some might feel like he wasted the money, it's not so much the things that I get them as much as it is the time. The entire night he had the dog in his arms, and that's usually the case. Everybody wanted to see her. Everybody wanted to take a picture and stuff like that, which is cool. Now, if you want to talk about wasting money was buying an NFT of a stupid ape. From the AV Club, Jimmy Fallon and a bunch of other celebrities are getting sued for shilling their expensive monkey pictures. That, in my humble opinion, was wasting money. Jimmy Fallon, Gwyneth Paltrow, Justin Bieber, Madonna, I also see Kevin Hart on this list, and other celebrities. The AV Club opines spent a fairly embarrassing chunk of the last few years trying to convince fans that ugly pictures of monkeys were both A, cool, and B, a lucrative investment opportunity. They're being sued. The story in the AV Club focused specifically on Jimmy Fallon, and they write, the lawsuit accuses Fallon of being paid to promote the brand when he talked about getting his own ugly monkey picture through MoonPay, writing that Fallon did not disclose that he had financial interest in MoonPay, or that he was likewise financially interested directly or indirectly in the increased sale and popularity of Yuga securities. This is a whole story. There's a whole thing with U2 in this. This will be fun to keep an eye on. But yeah, if you bought a picture of a digital monkey or whatever it is, you wasted money. I'm on Team Gabe Iglesias. Out in Jersey, caught up with Nikki Glaser. They asked her which was her favorite of the roasts. She said her last roast, Alec Baldwin. I'd already done a few, and by that point was able to really let loose. I knew Caitlyn Jenner was going to be there, but I didn't want all my jokes to be trans. I didn't want to take the easy way out. Plus, I was much more familiar with Alec than Rob Lowe and Bruce Willis. However, I will say that roasts are the most stressful thing in the business for me. I must take my brain to the most negative space ever because in order to write these type of jokes, you have to be nasty. You basically need to be a Trumpy for 3 weeks and hate anyone who isn't you. Down the turnpike, Philly Weekly talked to Jay Pharaoh. He just got back from Australia, and Jay said if you can make people who are not where you're from fall out of their chairs, it's a pretty good and ubiquitous product. That's what I have. Australia is like America 25, 30 years ago without being super offended by anything. If it's funny, it's funny. They don't care. There's no cancel culture there, just connections and punchlines. It's funny he says that. When I was in Australia back in 2015, I did feel like it was a version of America where they hadn't turned every single square inch yet into a strip mall with a TJ Maxx and a Chipotle. You know that strip mall? Yeah, there's 1/2 a mile from your house. I know. I live in America. There's 1/2 mile from everyone's house. Australia's still got some room left. It's kind of fun. Kevin Hart, aforementioned in an earlier story in this podcast, he's going to Cairo as part of his world tour. That's fun. Reality check. Cairo, if you're in Cairo, February 21st. The Wall Street Journal caught up with Jay Leno. It's mostly a straightforward article about electric cars. Like, no jokes at all. Like, Jay seems very knowledgeable about electric cars, had a lot to say about them, apparently owns some. He did talk about his recent accident. Jay wrote, 8 days later, I had a brand new face, and it's better than what was there before. But really, it was an accident, that's all. Anybody who works with their hands on a regular basis is going to have an accident at some point. If you play football, you get a concussion or a broken leg, anything you do, there's a risk factor. You have to joke about it. There's nothing worse than whiny celebrities. If you joke about it, people laugh along with you. Did you join the $2 club yet? Yeah, that's the new thing I'm pushing on buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. It's an easy way. You become a member once a month. Buy Me a Coffee will ding your credit card. $2 will make its way to me. Thank you in advance. Hey, big thanks to Gary T. He signed up at the $5 membership level. Gary, I appreciate you. And also I wanted to shout out Tom and Susie. They gave a review on Apple Podcasts. Tom and Susie, I'm sorry it took, looks like 10 plus days to get back to you. I don't want to get in the weeds here, but I'm based in the States, and any review that comes in from outside the States takes a little longer to get through the pipeline, and I noticed it over the weekend. Tom and Susie wrote, amazing podcast. Keep it up. 5 stars. Much thanks. Seriously, I appreciate you guys listening. Otherwise, I'm just a lunatic in the basement talking to himself. Last week was actually the most listened to week for the podcast yet. And I'm laughing here while I'm on the review dashboard. I regularly mention I'm also the writer on a podcast called Palace Intrigue, where we talk about the royal family. That podcast got a review. Enough Meghan. The Meghan podcasts are so tedious. I hate to break it to that listener. Meghan moves the needles. Palace Intrigue last week had numbers bigger than the week the Queen died. Thank you, Harry and Meghan on Netflix. If you would like to keep up with Meghan Markle gossip, Palace Intrigue, wherever you get your shows. At some point, we'll get back talking to the other royals, but come on, you can't ignore this Harry and Meghan thing. Gary T, thank you. Tom and Susie, thank you. The Golden Globes put out their nominations. I guess the Golden Globes are out of award show jail, wasn't it? Like a year ago, everybody was like, we're never covering that again, and people shouldn't show it, and NBC blew it off, and now it's back. Everyone likes the Golden Globes again, I guess. Who knows? Gerard Carmichael's hosting it. Not too much specific to comedy in there. Nominees for Best Television Series, Musical or Comedy are Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Hacks, Only Murders in the Building, and Wednesday. Only Murders seems to do really well. Plus, it's got Selena Gomez in there to keep it a little younger. For me, out of that list, the best one was The Bear. Best Performance by an Actress in a TV Series, Musical or Comedy. Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary. Kaylee Cuoco for The Flight Attendant. Selena Gomez, Only Murders. Jenna Ortega for Wednesday. Jean Smart for Hacks. I don't know. Selena? I don't know. Best Performance by an Actor at a TV Series, Musical or Comedy. Donald Glover, Atlanta. Bill Hader, Barry, there's your winner. Steve Martin, Only Murders. Martin Short, Only Murders, so they split the vote. Jeremy Allen White for The Bear. Bill Hader, last season of Barry was fantastic. I want to quickly talk about this week's Saturday Night Live. Boy, my take on it was it really showed the importance of host. There's been a few hosts this year where I've been like, who is that? And I understand I'm getting more and more gray hair. Believe me, I am well used to not recognizing the musical artist. But for the hosts, I mean, some of the hosts this year, it's been like, wait, what? So they had Steve Martin and Martin Short, two aces at the top of the deck. It made a tremendous difference. There were some great sketches. The Scrooge sketch, say that twice. I did. You heard take 2 there. The Scrooge sketch was awesome. You could just tell it was written by Sarah Sherman because it was just totally bat crap crazy is the way I describe that one. I shared it on the Daily Comedy News podcast group page if you want to see the sketch. Or, SNL has a YouTube channel. You can find it there. Very, very good. Easily the best episode of the season. The Atlantic wrote, Steve and Morty revealed SNL's weaknesses. Even 2 comedy legends couldn't help the show. I disagree there. I've been very critical of the show this season, but this week's was fine. They write, Martin and Short felt like veteran substitute teachers called in to steady a school where most of the experienced faculty had left. Yep, that is very true. Yet the episode hampered their efforts, placing the consummate vaudevillians in sketch after sketch that restricted their talents. They were in a lot of sketches for hosts, like a lot, maybe all of them. As a result, even Steve and Morty couldn't save SNL from the struggles that continue to impact what the executive producer Lorne Michaels has called a transition year. I'm fascinated by that, again, Lorne Michaels is in the Hall of Fame of Hall of Fames, but I don't know, do you just get to go, well, this year doesn't count? What is that? Let's stop off on Gossip Corner. As usual, the Gossip Corner is about Pete Davidson. The Sun writes, Pete Davidson's friends worry his demons will return as he dives deep into preparations for punk rocker role. Pete Davidson is working on the Netflix music biopic I Slept with Joey Ramone. The source tells The Sun Pete was interested in the role because it allows him to tap into the tragedies of his own life for more than just laughs or cringe moments. Now that he's off SNL, he has his future to think about. Pete is taking on the project because he wants respect in the acting business, plain and simple. But going so deep down this hole is risky, especially with everything Pete is juggling at the moment. Pete has put himself under serious pressure since he left SNL, and this is by far his biggest challenge yet. But even with all his success, he still acts like he has everything to prove. Quite frankly, it's a recipe for disaster. Look, Pete's trying to make his own Bohemian Rhapsody here, and it's not a fool's errand. They already have worked to get the Ramones script to that level. Pete's quirky friendship with Rami Malek goes back a few years. They really like each other, and now he's doing a movie straight out of Rami's playbook by taking on a music icon and really living as that character whenever he can as part of the preparation. Pete wants to scare the crap out of people with how close he can get to the real Joey Ramone, and Rami is his North Star for how to really live the process. As always, I hope Pete Davidson is okay. And that's your comedy news for today. Follow the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow.